The Venom boys being led for the first time in series history by Luke Peterson. Peterson in dive to the green flag. Dye not with the best start there on the outside. It's going to be Mark Dillon Jr. clear in second. And Luke Peterson with no challengers for the top spot. Reynolds now clear in third. Dye back it up to Brantley Gainey. Three wide move, further back in the chest up the middle, and wow, Mark Dillon Jr. there with a big moment in front of Nathan Reynolds. Dillon going to find himself in the middle of three wide.
Had to make a huge save and in jeopardy of losing multiple positions. He's going to be able to slot up in front of Ryan Dye. That was nearly disaster. Drivers are getting after it early here. Reynolds, a little bump to Peterson out of turn two. Looking underneath here in turn three.
Here goes Nathan Reynolds. Talking to him before the race, he said he wanted to be ahead of the madness as much as possible tonight.
Oh, contact between Dillon and Jan Van Leer.
Wow, how did Jan save that? That was incredible, but Dillon still being squeezed here in the middle. Contact behind them as well. Steve Roman got moved up to the wall by Zach Lockett. Oh, caution is out. For the first time, Brantley Gainey, I think, has gone around. More cars spinning down the backstretch. I believe it's Eric Breeding. Steve Roman involved as well. That is caution number one here on lap number 69.
Just like we saw John do with Gunter a little bit earlier. There was certainly some neck code there as well. That is going to be the end of the night, certainly, at least for Breeding, probably for Rome as well. Breeding comes straight down the racetrack into Gainey and Rodney Matney.
Reynolds has been untested this entire race. He has been in complete control of everything going on today. John Kay is always one to rock the boat.
Kay's got a big run here.
Here he goes. Can he hold the bottom? He's going to drift up. Nearly contact and has to back out of it. Two laps to go. That may have been the opportunity there. But Nathan Reynolds, an absolutely dominant performance. Reynolds with another one in season 7. Third win of the season. Reynolds said this was a wild card he was worried about. Vegas is all about trumping the wild cards. We're in an awkward place in the schedule with a couple of races to go. We're a lot of yards from the green, and we need a big strike right up the middle. So how fitting that these drivers are about to pull out the hybrid here. It's the 1.5 mile legitimate super speedway, not just in the title like some tracks. Real super speedway racing tonight. Round number 14 at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Venom Truck Series. It's the second time that the Venom boys have unloaded here at the 2022 version of Atlanta. Only 3 races to go here tonight. Nearly a race and a half lead for the points leader, but tonight could change everything. It's the Cut the Cord 110 presented by CaliTV, and it's here on Turn 200, the home of the Venom Truck Series. My name is Tommy Cook, the GOAT, the one and only Mr. Matt Williamson will be alongside momentarily. The aforementioned point standings see Nathan Reynolds in the lead by 70 now, as he increased the points lead coming out of Las Vegas with an absolutely dominant series-high third victory of the season. Not a bad way to pick up your 20th career Venom Truck Series victory. Gunter with a lot of work to do. and pretty much everybody else out of it. It is just down to these two, at least in any realistic sense of the word. This will be the second time that we are at the 2022 version of Atlanta Motor Speedway. All the way back in Season 5 was our first go-around here. It saw quite a few cautions, 6 to be exact, 18 lead changes despite the fact that Steve Roman led 76 of the 112 laps. But in the end, it was a thrilling conclusion between Brantley Gainey, Andy Poliski, and Luke Peterson, who found their way onto the podium. And it saw Brantley Gainey take his first and thus far only career Venom Truck Series victory. But this race is anybody's for the taking here today. And although there are only maybe a couple of people in it for the points championship, there are quite a few people that are looking at career best points finishes with the Venom Truck Series. And a day like today will dictate how the final points standings look. A checkered flag is to play for here. The Cut the Cord 110, presented by CaliTV from Atlanta Motor Speedway, is around the turn for the Venom Truck Series on turn 200.
A blind knight that uses echolocation, viewing the dark, treacherous world through sound. Trapped in a dungeon deep, endangered by combatants, where hazards lurk around every corner. Make sound to have vision, or don't and be stealthy. Avoid impaling threats throughout the dungeon to escape. Engage with other prisoners.
Rogue Knight I've been hearing about. Could you find the key and unlock my cell?
Free them to fight back with more allies.
Take this guy.
The Dungeon Labyrinth has many paths and even more traps. Struggle through the darkness to find your freedom.
An empty plastic bottle would give you 50 cents. A soda can, 60 cents. A used food container, 80. Wondering why I know this? Because that's my job. I am a trash picker at my school.
Harry, the trash prince is on a roll today. And how was your trashy affair with Bella coming? She lets you kiss her with that stink?
Their words don't bother me. They don't know why I do what I do. And my secret. I edge close to my class when I hear Bella and her friend talking.
You can't be serious, Bella. You want me to break up with him for you?
I would do it myself if his poverty didn't give me the creeps.
You are unbelievable.
I come face to face with Bella's friend. She knew I heard the conversation and couldn't meet my eyes. She hands me the new phone I bought for Bella and walks away. I saved for months to buy her this phone. I walk down the empty corridor with a heavy heart, pick the phone out of the box, slip my SIM in, and switch it on. When... Harry Parker, you have passed the poverty test? You are now the heir to Parker family's billions worth of assets?
If Harry is a billionaire, why does he work as a trash picker? What is his big secret? Why did he not reveal his billionaire status to Bella? To know more, listen to the audio series Destiny Reloaded, only on Pocket FM.
Feature presentation. Welcome into live coverage of the Venom Truck Series here on Turn 200. Matt Williamson is hanging out with you. My name is Tommy Cook, and we've got a very special guest with us here. Tonight's race is presented by CaliTV. We've got Steve from CaliTV here hanging out in booth 200 with us ahead of the Cut the Cord 110 here tonight at Atlanta. Welcome to the booth, partner. How are we doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
We're getting ready to take in some Truck Series race hit action that doesn't get much better than this, but I know things do get better than this. CaliTV sounds pretty exciting. Tell the folks all about it.
Yeah, one of the racers in tonight's race is been a customer for a long time, and he's been a big cheerleader for me. And I've been watching this Truck Series, cheering him on. I haven't seen a good finish for maybe tonight's tonight. This better be the one he wins if he's going to win any of them.
He's run really well here in the past, referring to Cole Maxwell, Josh Maxwell, if you will. But yeah, he's repping the CaliTV colors on the truck tonight. I believe in the description of the video here, we've got the link to the website as well to reach out and get in touch with you about getting hooked up with CaliTV. Yeah, anything else that you want to say here while we're taking some practice in?
Yeah, the best way really to get in touch with me is through Facebook. And if you have any questions or want to get a hold of me, I just get with Josh and he can get in touch with me. But the winner tonight, I'm going to, give a good prize for the first place winner. And then anyone that mentions the broadcast, I'm going to do a special deal for them as well.
Well, that's a cool deal to give something away to the winner, and thank you very much for supporting the Venom Truck Series here, and thank you for supporting Josh as well. It's greatly appreciated, and I can tell you, CaliTV, I'll say this on my own accord here. This is it's the gateway drug of cutting the cord, if you will. Once you start CaliTV, you're not going to want to go back. And Maxwell's been screaming that off the highest mountaintops as well. So you got a lot of people in your corner here.
It looks like he's got a picture of me on the back of his truck.
Is that you on the back of the truck there?
It looks like it.
Well, you're going to be riding along with him tonight then. That's pretty cool.
May I'll bring him some good luck, man.
Well, hopefully, partner. Yeah. Anything else you want to say? We got a few seconds here before we get rolling.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who have a lot of questions. Just like I said, message me on Facebook is the preferred way of contact. I didn't know about the website. I wouldn't have done it that way myself. I decided to talk to me first because, like I said, there's a lot of questions, and it doesn't give really any info. So just reach out to me, and like I said, I'll be happy to give. I'm giving a deal to everyone that's tuned into the broadcast or any of the racers and everything, and doing special deal for first place, getting 3 months, and also a 4K Fire Stick included as well in that.
Well, there you go. Oh, well, thank you very much. Thank you for supporting the Venom Truck Series. Best of luck to Maxwell, and thank you to you for everything that you're doing with CaliTV, and thanks for supporting us. Enjoy the race here tonight.
I appreciate it, guys. Y'all doing a great job. Thank you for having me.
All right, that was Steve from CaliTV. Matt will talk about the race here as it begins, but it is time to go racing here tonight. Round number 14 of season number 7. And the driver that won here last time is starting on the pole. Brantley Gainey will lead the field to the green. That is career pole number 1. That is the second consecutive first-time pole sitter in the Venom Truck Series. Nathan Reynolds, the series points leader, the 3-time series champion. No Brody Gunter in the field here tonight, so it's going to be a big night for Nathan Reynolds in his quest for title number 4. Jan Van Leer and John Kay on row number 2. Matt Schlosser and Ryan Boardboom is qualified P6 here. Watch out for Ryan Boardboom here on the super speedways. Eric Breeding and Ryan Dye in row number 4. Paul Ellison and Mark Dillon Jr. back in the top 10 for the starting grid. Steve Roman and Paul Sargent on row number 6. Then it is Kyle Zittel and Michael Dean on row 7. Zach Lockett, Pascal Simard on row number 8. Andy Poliski, Ethan Patterson on row 9. And Austin Holyfield, Corey Rutherford on row 10. Cole Maxwell starting back in 22nd with Tyler Burgett and Kyle Dumick flanking him on either side. That is your 23 truck starting grid here tonight at Atlanta 2022. Matt Williamson. Some track conditions and a big hello to you as well.
Yeah, good to be here at Atlanta, the new version, the super speedway style version. Looking at 103 degrees on the track temperature. Tire wear will come into play here at Atlanta, so that is actually going to be something we need to pay attention to throughout the night. So pretty warm track temperature for the drivers here tonight. We're looking at 110 laps. Fuel capacity is going to be around 45, maybe be able to stretch it to 50 laps. So we're looking at a two-stopper, but it's going to be close. I mean, if we get a few cautions, we might be able to stretch it, depending on where those cautions fly. So going to be looking at some good action. Everybody's going to be looking to be patient here tonight, I'm sure.
It was the first career pole last week for Luke Peterson, who is also not here today. But Brantley Gainey with the first career pole, looking to go back-to-back in the second race in series history here at the new Atlanta Motor Speedway. Gainey and Reynolds. Green flag is waving. We're underway here in hot Atlanta. Side by side, the top four breaking away. Matt Schlosser back in fifth. To point out as well, the apron only in the tri-oval. You can go below that red and white line. Everywhere else, it's out of bounds. You'll see Gainey there taking full advantage of that, as it's Reynolds, who led 108 laps last week, leading the first one here at Atlanta.
And those top four got out in front to begin with, but the rest of the field starting to close the gap now.
Pack racing much more by design here than what we saw last week at Las Vegas. The very locked down, tight truck. These trucks, very apparent early, even with a mid-track temperature like this, these trucks look to be a bit of a handful.
Yeah, I mean, this is, it's tight confines here. I mean, 3 wide is, I mean, it's possible. It's pretty hairy. Not going to see it until the very, very end of the race, I'm sure, if we see it at all. The drivers, I mean, they're, like I said, they're hoping to be patient, I'm sure. Things can go south in a hurry here around Atlanta. I think, personally, even more than at your typical super speedway race, just because the width of the track is very tight.
So no Luke Peterson here tonight. He is in the chat with us, though. I think he's gearing up for a cruise. So bon voyage to you, partner, and safe travels. And everybody hoping for safe passage for 110 laps at Atlanta. Reynolds and Gainey still leading the 2 lines. Reynolds been leading the laps across the line. Can't quite get clear. Gainey with help from John Kay on the bottom. Jan Van Leer actually on the bottom.
We're starting to see this outside line kind of come to life a little bit. I haven't really raced here since the oval refresh, so possibly could have changed a little bit since that happened. But, in the past, it seems like if you can get 2 or 3 drivers to really work well together on the top side, that's actually ends up being the fastest line around the track, being able to carry that momentum. But both lines pretty much dead even at this point right now.
I don't know. We've seen it go both ways here on Turn 200. I think this is the 4th race now that we've seen in the trucks anyway here at the new Atlanta. We've seen the top line work a couple of times, and then there have been long spells where it has not worked, even with the numbers advantage being up top. So maybe the oval refresh will have something to say about that as this one rolls along. Maybe tire wear in general is going to be the main determining factor in that. But so far, status quo being maintained for the most part. Big gap there from Jan Van Leer on back to his help on the inside.
Yeah, you see the the lines work well together. The top three in both lines work well together for a turn or two, and then they kind of break up, and it takes them about a lap to kind of get back together again. So you gotta work well together with those around you to manage the runs. Put each other in good positions to make your line move a little bit forward as Gainey gets about a truck length out in front of Reynolds there on the front stretch.
I was going to say maybe the numbers game doesn't need to be working in their advantage just yet because Jan is doing a nice job keeping his teammate up front and clear with lane choice here. But now the outside fighting back. Reynolds surging ahead. Jan clipped the apron there a bit up the track. And that is John Kay. I think he's running Garrett's truck tonight, so there's 13s and 2s on this truck. It's a little bit confusing, but that is John there.
And Tommy, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe your pole sitter for tonight, last time the Venom Truck Series was here at Atlanta, was Gainey the winner of that race?
Yes, he was. That was his first and so far only Venom Truck Series victory. Came here over Andy Poliski and Luke Peterson in fairly dramatic fashion.
So, I mean, for him to get his first win here and then follow it up the very next time with the pole, has to be feeling pretty good about his chances here tonight, and has looked really solid up front with a teammate behind him as well. I gotta have a lot of confidence right now, but a couple of teammates on their outside as well, looking to spoil the party.
ICR really as a unit is always a team that we look at to do well at the super speedways. They've run well at both of the super speedway races this season, but have not necessarily got the finishes to go with it. Jan was running incredibly well here. Spent a lot of time in that race last time here at the New Atlanta in second behind Steve Roman. Ended up being vaulted about 50 feet in the air backwards and did not finish that race. Gainey and Reynolds trading the top spots. A bumper ahead at a time. Two teammates, two warring factions here at the front of the field. Alabama Gang on the top and ICR, insert Coin Racing on the bottom.
We haven't talked about the championship picture really much tonight other than the points there before we went live on air. But no Brody Gunter here tonight, so things are looking up Nathan Reynolds right now as he's also towards the front of the field, but also that person chasing him in the championship not here tonight at all. So Reynolds looking to come out with a massive lead here.
Yeah, Kyle Dumick lagged out on the starting grid, so we had 22 drivers start this race. So that's worst case scenario here for Reynolds. I believe Brody Gunter will get 23rd place points with a provisional. And so will Luke Peterson. Peterson also in the top 5 in points. He's been doing really well lately to surge ahead in the point standings. So that's 2 of the top 5 that are taking their provisional tonight.
Shout out to everybody in the chat right now. Thank you guys for tuning in. Haven't gotten a chance to really mention y'all either. I got a message from Flinky the other day after our trivia NASCAR knockout went live, saying that Speedy and Kermit need a play date at some point. So Flinky will make that happen.
That was one of my favorite things in the background. John had a lot of liquor behind him, and you had Kermit with a pair of sunglasses on. I always got a kick out of that.
Those sunglasses make Kermit look like a G. Wow, this bottom line's starting to edge out in front a little bit more. And now the top line fight's back. Both of these lines doing a good job And, you know, you having to work hard for it. I mean, people kind of talk about super speedway racing like it's easy somehow. It's just different. It's not easy. It's just a different game you got to play, but you got to work hard for every darn inch out there on the track.
It may be fundamentally easy, but it's tense. And I think that makes it harder, if that makes sense.
I understand
really,
what you're saying.
If you write down the instructions of what to do here, it's pretty simple. It just isn't an easy task to accomplish. Especially here, like you mentioned, not a whole lot of room to maneuver. We'll see 3 wide, we won't see it work all that much. So it just makes things that much more difficult.
And not only that, you talk about here, tire wear starts coming into play. I mean, at a Talladega or a Daytona, you can go at least 2 stints of fuel. I mean, pretty much the entire race without taking tires if you really wanted to. Here, that is not the case.
And you'll notice a couple of times Gainey has been pushed clear of Nathan Reynolds, and Reynolds was just clear of Brantley Gainey. But neither of those drivers are switching lanes. They don't want to leave their teammates. They're each being pushed by teammates. And a bit of space from Eric Breeding up to Jan Van Leer. Eric is a teammate of the 2 on the top side. Schlosser, no affiliation to either party, so he's happy to push along here on the top.
Yeah, but even with Breeding kind of hanging back a little bit on the bottom, Van Leer and Gainey have still been able to produce really good runs, really with just the 2 of them trying to push hard.
And really, this whole bottom line has a lot of space on it. I am surprised that it's worked as well as it has. Top side having to work for it a little bit more. Less numbers, but they are more tightly compacted together. Especially the top 3. Pretty much nose to tail here through the tri-oval. Gainey and Reynolds have led them all this far. 22 up on the board for the 22.
And if we look back farther in the field, we're going to go ahead and we are going to go on board with the CaliTV truck, Cole Maxwell. And he's sitting back here on the top line, just riding around. Doesn't want to get involved in any incidents, get too crazy right now. But, I mean, if they stay like this for quite a while, this is the amount of trucks that Maxwell has to somehow try and maneuver his way through. And not much space to be able to do it. Nearly impossible. So Maxwell maybe hoping for a little bit of a shakeup with the caution or something like that later on.
That was pretty much door-to-door contact between Jan Van Leer and John Kay there. Jan keeps getting pretty flirtatious there with the apron in turns 3 and 4 and wiggling up the track ever so much.
Well, that's going to start happening on the bottom. I would say we get 35 laps in here. You're going to start to feel the effect on those tires. You can't just sail it off in there with, no remorse. You're going to start regretting just sending it off in there here.
Truck in the wall. Andy Poliski, I think, just got in the wall pretty hard there by himself in turn 3. At least I think that was Andy riding out back there. And to your point, how do you not sail it off here? It's the name of the game.
It's very difficult. Especially you have people pushing you. It's not like you can just, roll out of it. You're just going to get up there and you're going to get loose, and you got to be able to hang on to it. You just have to be more conscientious of actually trying to get a little bit of an arc and a line into the corner rather than just being able to fly it in shallow and let the tires hang on. You just can't do that later on in the run. And that's especially if you're on the top side. You will drift right up to the wall when those tires start to go. You're going to notice it immediately.
Good Leaf hanging out in the chat with us once again. Haven't seen that we're at the Bellagio yet. But if ever there was a race to place a wild bet, this is the one.
Yeah, certainly. If anybody down at the bottom of the point standings is going to win one, tonight would be the night. Somebody down there has plus 5,000 odds for sure.
I think so. I know who I might be looking at this point. Riding in the 7th position across the line last time, Ryan Bourboom, with a great qualifying effort tonight. He's always been a guy that's not been afraid to mix it up, especially at the super speedways. Running a partial schedule this season, season number 7, but has snuck in some pretty good runs and pretty good finishes in the non-super speedway races this season as well. So I would not be at all surprised to see Ryan Bourboom here in the thick of it as the laps wind down. He's up in the thick of it right now.
Yeah, and I personally have some familiarity with Bourboom running super speedway races, an exhibition one, I should say. But yes, always is in the mix, looking for any way he can to get an advantage on the rest of the drivers. And this is a place that you have to be a little bit creative in the way that you go about this race.
CaliTV, Cole Maxwell up in the wall there in turn number 4, and he drops all the way to the back of the pack. And scuffed up a pretty nice looking paint scheme there. Didn't see how it happened, but of course this is the point in the run where handling is going to become an issue. And the other thing to think about with the tires is normally the MO here at the super speedways is to not take tires on green flag pit stops. That can't be an option, right?
You know, I know that there's going to be drivers that are going to do it. That there will certainly be drivers that are not going to take tires. Most of them are not going to, but they're going to pay the price. They definitely have the opportunity to pay the price later. But I mean, it's just how you have to play the game. I mean, you cannot get out of the pack. So if other drivers aren't going to take tires, you basically have no option. So I would guess that they're not going to, but it's definitely an option for maybe one whole team to get together and say, all right, guys, we're taking tires. We're not going to crash ourselves out of this thing early because of tire wear. And we're going to reap the benefits later on. We just have to trust this process. I mean, that's on the table as well.
Luke Peterson in the chat says, no tires, bad plan. And I agree. Yeah, maybe a couple people will roll the dice, but they might be rolling something else later. Matt Schlosser abandoned ship on the top side. He jumps into line behind JVL. So maybe gearing up for stops here. The other thing to point out ahead of green flag pit stops, in real life in a couple weeks when NASCAR rolls into Atlanta for race number 2 of the season, which is still weird, they will have to pit out of turn number 3. They'll have to make the move down the backstretch to come into pit. That is not implemented here in the sim. So everybody, for the most part, will be trying to pit off of turn number 4. And we've seen that go very poorly here on turn 200 before. Looking back to the Max V season opener in 2023, we had probably a 15 to 20 truck pileup on green flag pit stops, with the first wave being triggered and everybody being caught out. So that is going to be something to watch here as Nathan Reynolds and John Kay have finally made their way to the bottom. It's interesting how that happened after they lost their help with Matt Schlosser.
Yeah. You read my mind. I was going to say the same thing. Schlosser moves down to the bottom, puts Kay and Reynolds up there pretty much on their own. I think Bourboom was a good 4 truck lengths behind them, but they're still able to get to the front and get down to the bottom.
And Steve from CaliTV is in the chat saying if Cole ruins that paint scheme, his service is getting canceled. Yes, indeed. Cut the Cord 110 tonight, presented by CaliTV. Be sure to hit Steve up to get hooked up with CaliTV. You are not going to regret it. It's the way to go, trust me.
And if you have trouble finding him on Facebook or here in the Discord, you can always message one of us in the Discord as well, or here in the comments or something, and we'll get you pointed in the right direction.
So Reynolds and Kay, the power duo from last week at Las Vegas, and really the power duo of the league, if we're being honest, at the front of the field on the bottom down. Pushing up here on the top side, that is Ryan Borboom with help from Ryan Dye.
We haven't gone to an in-car shot here towards the front of the field yet, so let's go ahead and see if we can find one of those drivers, and we're going to go on board with Ryan Dye. Running a camera for us here tonight, the Car Inside camera, presented by Car Inside. They're back working again this week.
Love that.
Dye alongside John Kay at the moment. Not pushing too hard to Borboom up here at the front, but staying close enough. Wow, Borboom, a little bit loose. Will Dye take the opportunity? He will get to the middle.
Borboom going to get hung out here. Mark Dillon Jr., I think, is going to let Ryan into line. Ryan Borboom, that is. So Borboom only going to lose one spot, but this puts the two-time series champ at the front of the outside line.
And those are the effects of the tire wear here at Atlanta. Borboom set it off into turn 3. Truck started to get loose on him. Wiggled up the racetrack, and Ryan Dye is able to get through. And if Dylan and the rest of the group wanted to really stick at the Borboom, they had the opportunity, but Dylan graciously gave room to Ryan Borboom there. And Borboom only loses one position effectively.
And, you know, it is early in the race, so kudos to Mark Dillon Jr., who got a bit used up last week. I think he has every right to be filled with vinegar and you-know-what, but a gracious move early in this one. I feel like it was not that long ago that Andy Poliski had gotten up into the wall, and now he's tucked in fourth in line here on the top.
Car Inside camera for Nathan Reynolds as well. Kyle's a little bit farther back in the pack here. Pit stops looming on the field, coming within the next 10 laps at the very least. Oh, there's Rutherford up into the wall. We're really starting to see drivers struggle with the handling of these trucks. I would guess everybody's going to be looking for tires, at least 2 of them, if not all 4.
Borboom gave a shot to Ryan Dye into turn number 3, and it was a good enough shot to propel Dye past Nathan Reynolds. And Dye is now the race leader on the bottom. Borboom and Dylan now the top 2 drivers on the top line. It was an aggressive push. Those trucks were both yawed out pretty big.
And what a night it would be for Ryan Dye to get another race win. Got a super speedway win late in the season in season 6. Now looking for another one here in season 7.
Champion of season 3 and season 4. Behind him, the champion of seasons 1, 2, and 5, or rather 1, 2, and 6. The season 5 champ work at the top side, not too far behind him. So all the royalty of the Venom Truck Series is towards the front here. Lap 45 going to go up on the board this time. I would imagine we're 5 to 10 from pit stops, if that.
Yeah, curious to see how long they're going to be able to stretch it being in the draft. Could somebody get to 55? If they can, it's only a 1 stop.
That would be huge.
That would be, that would, in my mind, be stretching it quite a lot, though.
There are some drivers, everybody's attached to the front pack right now, but there have been drivers that have not tried to make any moves this whole race. Steve Roman, Michael Dean, Pascal Samar, Paul Sargent, Ethan Patterson, Austin Holyfield, Tyler Berger. All have just been riding at the back of the field. I think if you're going to look for the envelope pushers, I wouldn't look any further than that. Not that you could look much further than them, because they're at the back of the field.
I mean, if you had it set in your mind, I am only concerned about conserving fuel right from the jump of this race. You could run between 65 to 80% throttle average, this whole entire run. Certainly possible to save quite a bit of fuel if that was your mindset going in.
And if you're expecting a crash, you don't have many places to evade the crash here. So riding in the back has multiple benefits, just as long as you execute whenever you do decide to pit.
And Tommy, you nailed the pit stop analysis earlier. So difficult to get off of turn 4, get slowed down on tires that are wearing quite significantly around Atlanta. That, I mean, you have to be able to make it cleanly through a pit cycle here. And oftentimes, more than not, probably, pit stops end up going south for at least a couple drivers here.
You really got to be in tune with what's happening around you on either side of the coin. Does that always happen? Actually, here I would say it does not happen more often than it does. We're only a couple laps away from finding out.
And if you're up towards the front of the field, you have to trust those behind you that they're not going to run you over either. I mean, you're going to be on the bottom of the racetrack for quite a significant amount of time, trying to get slowed down before you're actually able to turn off below the red and white line there on the bottom.
No call-outs over the radio. Coming to lap 50. A lot more spread out in the mid-pack.
Yeah, they're towards the back of the field. They're definitely gearing up for the stop. Everybody started to get single file there on the
Rutherford
bottom.
pounds the wall. Corey Rutherford absolutely pounded the wall there. And that is going to check up the outside line pretty hard. Cole Maxwell was the first one behind him. Didn't make any contact, but had to get woed up big time. That was a hard shot.
And only caught the very end of it on the broadcast. Might try to take a look at it at some point if we get an opportunity. But we saw the end result of Rutherford fishtailing there through the turn.
Stickers McQueen hanging out with us. I was thinking about Rodney. Season 5, this race was the race that he made his return to the Venom Truck Series. So you could cheer him on. He's out in the field tonight, but cheer away. We're always cheering for him. Orboom finally closing in on Ryan Dye here. Ryan's at the front of the field. Zach Lockett has creeped up into the picture all of a sudden. He's third on the outside. Zach had a pretty quiet P10 last week, but a top 10 nonetheless.
Well,
I do want to... I'm surprised that we have not seen the pit stops yet.
I was just going to say, I think I might have missed the pit stop analysis by just a bit. I mean, we still have a lot of drivers sitting on the top side there. If we were getting real close, they'd be getting antsy to get down towards the bottom of the racetrack. So must not be quite as tight to get to the halfway point as we once thought.
Cole Maxwell jumps in line. 4 guys on the top. The 3 series champions now nose to tail on the bottom. Now Lockett will have some help from his teammate, Matt Schlosser. And the top line, look at him go. Borboom is clear. And is Borboom going to take it? He will. So Ryan Borboom to the head of the field.
The next time around, we are officially past the halfway mark, so everybody will be good to come in if they want to, if they can stretch it a few laps more. In case they have an overtime, they're certainly looking for it.
Nope. Alabama gang pitting this time. Ryan Borboom going to pit from the lead. Everybody's starting to get slowed up already. Borboom. Oh, Andy Poliski with a big wiggle. That's Breeding up in the wall. Somebody's off in the grass. I think it was Borboom.
Oh, and more problems. Nathan Reynolds gets turned around. Him and Pascal Samard got together somewhere right there.
And I think Patterson is stopped out on the front stretch now. We'll pull it into the pits.
I think you were right. Borboom could not get slowed down and sent it off towards the grass.
Yeah, Borboom is going to pick up a black flag. No caution. And I can't imagine.
Schlosser gets turned.
This is not going to go any better. More problems. Everybody's spinning on the pit road.
Wow.
Lockett, Schlosser, Paul Sargent. Caution is out, just as we expected during the green flag pit cycle.
Yeah, I can't say I didn't see that coming.
I know it's a new thing that NASCAR implemented, but I am surprised that it has not made its way to iRacing yet. Especially with the number of official races that have been run here in the offseason across multiple series.
Yes, I'm a bit surprised as well. I mean, for the two of us, it seems like every race we've had at the new version of Atlanta almost has had pit stop incidents just like we saw here. The first group didn't bring out a caution. The second group did.
And, I mean, the first group probably should have brought out the caution as well. We had Borboom in the grass, and we had Patterson parked sideways in the middle of the tri-oval. So that's just iRacing being kind of silly, not throwing the caution. That was an admin caution that was triggered the second time.
You see Borboom trying to get slowed down here. This is that first group, and he just slides way through the point that he needed to get slowed down. Ends up getting into the grass and having to pull on the track, or pull onto pit road, rather, through the grass. And here's Reynolds, and Reynolds just slides in sideways and then tries to correct it and comes right across pit lane here. Wow, John Kay did not get him, but Pascal Samard, a little bit of contact there between those two, but pretty minimal from what it could be. And Reynolds does a good job of keeping it off the inside wall there on pit road as well. And then we come to the second round. Oh, and this is Patterson. You mentioned Patterson spun out trying to get down there to pit road as well. And then there's Schlosser trying to get down. Dye and Dillon Jr. almost make contact, and Rutherford just could not get slowed down and piles into Schlosser there. And then Dillon does the same to Zach Lockett as well. I mean, it is just pure chaos here. Trying to get down onto the apron and get slowed down. Nearly impossible.
So this field is all topsy-turvy. Most of the field had to take a wave around there. Ryan Borboom picked up a black flag. He was the only truck a lap down now. Rutherford also had a black flag. Several drivers came back down who had already pit and picked up a black flag for passing under yellow, and it has given them phantom EOLs that have to be served. So the field is all jumbled up here. Well, let's give you the top 10 rundown, though. Dye and Vroman will now be on the front row. Ellison and Breeding on row 2. Zittel and Holyfield now will be on the third row. Schlosser and Bergerts now on row 4, and I think Brantley Gainey is going to be by himself, as everybody else going to line up single file behind him under the directive of iRacing. First caution out of the way. Is this going to open the floodgates, or is this going to be the run to the checkers here? Past halfway. Froman trying to get in. Zittel has to get on the binders there, but he will let his teammate in line. Breeding to the top side. He'll have help maybe from Paul Ellison, but definitely from Kyle Zittel. Looks like Mark Dillon Jr. had to come back down the pits. I'm not sure why. Topside getting formed up once again. Jan van Leer nearly gave a big shot there to match Schlosser. Jan lagging back, maybe trying to let Gainey in line.
Ryan Dye out at the front of this field. I'm wondering if it was a conscious effort to not come down pit road. He saw people crashing underneath, may have been thinking a caution's coming out, I shouldn't come down pit road right now, and he didn't. And he's going to reap the benefits. I mean, certainly possible to see that one coming and say, you know what, I'm just going to wait for this caution, and then we'll go from there.
Breeding and Zittel going to be clear on the top side. And maybe Matt Schlosser as well.
Yeah, Schlosser as well, but none of them taking it right now.
Dye coming back with a run. And, you know, not to give away our strategies at Super Speedways, but when we know we're going to have green flag pit stops, you and I and whoever our associated teammates are for the race will either be the first ones in or the last ones in, just to make sure that we are away from people and clear. Or if we think there's going to be a crash, we stay out as long as possible so we don't get caught out by the caution. So there's two ways of looking at it. Ryan definitely trying to stay out longer there, because he was thinking there was going to be a caution, especially after how poorly the first round of green flag pit stops went. The second time was much worse. There's Schlosser dropping out of line from the top down to the bottom. I think Schlosser wants to get to the front here.
I mean, Schlosser has looked good all night so far. Now gets himself to the front of a line.
Well, we talk about drivers not leaving teammates behind. That is exactly what he just did. Zach Lockett had pulled up to him, but Lockett trapped up fourth in line now on the top as his teammate Schlosser leads the way.
You know, when you're at a racetrack, a super speedway that you can really only run two lines consistently, it is hard to stick together as a team. I mean, if you see a little opening, you almost have to take it. So I'm not surprised to see Schlosser looking out for himself right here.
Little bitty factions developing all over as this race continues. Zittel and Breeding working together. They're teammates. Dye and Vroman are teammates. Cole Maxwell's one truck separated from his teammate. Rutherford and Poliski are satellite teammates. They're close together.
Well, it looked like Jan might have been trying to push to the middle there to get in between Zittel and Schlosser. Could have made things interesting. Doesn't end up working out.
And again, a lot of space here on the bottom. Not much in the way of physical assistance from one truck to another. Whereas you see Jan and Kyle and Eric all pretty close together here. Again, Jan loving to run the middle there. If Zittel's going to keep that gap open, Jan might find himself in there at one point as the laps start to wind down.
I think if Jan really wanted to try and get a run, he would be able to get underneath of Zittel, but probably not the best decision right now. But Breeding and Zittel Gonna get out in front and then pull down to the bottom this time. They've had many opportunities to do so and have finally taken it.
It's always been the question if Zittel was going to get clear or not. Zittel finally clear, comfortably enough to get down in front of Matt Schlosser. So now Jan Van Leer leads the outside with help from Lockett and Cole Maxwell.
And
the revolving door continues.
Yep, that outside line will immediately pull up here. Dye was out in front of that bottom line not too long ago. Now shuffled back to 4th in that line. And if they keep playing leapfrog, he's going to have to get to the outside and work his way up to the front on the outside again.
Big push there from Lockett up to Jan Van Leer, and Jan is clear. It's like a mom with a camera in hand trying to time when her kid is coming around on the carousel to take a picture. Got to time your run, place yourself in the right spot at the right time to be there at the end of the race. The opportunity to make that move. Oh, Maxwell almost down on the right rear quarter panel of his teammate there. That was awfully close. Maxwell with a big push there. Big push there to Lockett.
Laps have clicked off quickly here around Atlanta. Only 110 laps to do it. Already on lap 72. Only 40 minutes here into the race, even with a caution.
So it tells me we're not done with cautions yet.
There's Maxwell again. A massive run.
Clear.
And push to Lockett.
Not only did he push him clear, but he sort of hit him in the right side of the tailgate there and pushed him down. And there's Jan jumping up to his teammate.
And that's a good move from Jan right there. Jan's going to be able to get right back to the front.
So Lockett leads the lap at the line, but now falls back pretty far, even with Corey Rutherford there for 3rd.
Maxwell clear as well. Will they take it? No, stay on the top side.
I may try and stay on the top for a little while, and you know why? Because look who's there. 4th in line on the top side. It's Andy Poliski. I wouldn't want to give him the time of day at the front of this field.
The thing is, mentally, it's so hard to force yourself to stay up top here because traditionally, you would just get out in front and then pull right down to the bottom. Those folks behind you are getting a big run, trying to almost push you to the bottom, like you mentioned with Maxwell, getting Lockett down to the bottom with a little nudge. It takes a lot of discipline to tell yourself, no, we're going to stay on the top, let the bottom do their thing. We want this piece of real estate.
Trucks are purring. That is one way to put it here. I'm sure there are a few scaredy cats throughout the field that are just waiting for things to go kablooey. I would be one of them.
I mean, when we get down to the last 5 to 10 laps, folks are going to try 3 wide. And it's going to be on older tires. 3 wide, old tires, new Atlanta. No good.
No bueno. No me gusta, according to the Toyota ad, I think. No me gusta indeed. Yeah, and we've seen some pushing a little bit here, but I mean, they've been pretty mild. They've been pretty reserved pushes. With the race on the line here, doesn't matter who you're pushing. It's going to be all out, and it's going to get ugly.
The one constant pusher we've seen is the 3 of Cole Maxwell, which we know he's able to do it. Always very aggressive at these style of races.
Cole Maxwell has 3 finishes of 5th place. That is his best finish in series history. One of those came here at Atlanta last time in season 5.
Boom! And Poliski.
That stacks up that line big time. I mean,
I didn't see the initial contact, but they definitely got together. And
oh, Paul Sargent is going to go around with help from Ethan Patterson. They're going to save it. Wow, I don't know how they saved that. Paul Sargent was all kinds of loose there. Patterson with nowhere to go. They both got sideways, and they're both still trucking.
And I have a feeling that's a bit of a product from the stack-up with the incident from Borbim and Poliski.
Probably. Track temperature has stayed consistent from the drop of the green, so it's just the tires.
So, yeah, Zittel drifted up the track a bit. Lockett doing the same there on the bottom.
I mean, we're in net code range there. That's that is tight. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Van Leer and Maxwell have done a pretty darn good job of being disciplined, running the race that they want to run at the front of the field. They haven't given an inch to anybody here, and they've stayed up top where they want to be.
And it seemed very much like at the start of this run, where it was more like a switch you could flip to get yourself clear with help from the top down to the bottom. So they are dictating the top side, saving that move. And again, not a lot of help from Zach Lockett. From Eric Breeding there, running the nice Tim Richmond throwback on the inside. At least not yet. Breeding's still hooked up with his teammate. And the Interstellar Racing, Sim Racing Ventures teammates are bookending 1st and 4th here on the bottom line. And don't forget, as the laps wind down here, the red line is out of bounds everywhere except for the Tri-Oval. It came into play at the end of the Season 5 race here. It'll come into play again, assuming we have enough trucks to have a battle there at the end of the race.
Yeah, I mean, with that quad oval, you can get 4 or 5 wide right there at the quad oval. You just have to put yourself in a position to be able to get a run out of turn 4. But, I mean, not much time to do it here around Atlanta. It's very difficult.
I thank you for correcting me. Yes, it is the quad oval. Don't let me get away with that. I know better. At least somebody's on their game here.
It's just a quiet shot, actually.
I deserve it. You and I have been here. It's a lovely place, especially with the reconfiguration. And as this track surface continues to age in real life, it's going to become more and more dynamic as the years roll along. It's got that super speedway feel where at this point, everybody, both in the trucks right now and in the audience, on pins and needles here as the laps wind down.
Certainly coming up on 25 to go. Next time around, there's Sargent down on the bottom who had gotten turned around earlier, like you mentioned. Good job to keep it down there on the apron. It is very easy to get in there a little too fast and go right up to the racetrack. I know that might seem like a bare minimum to some, but I have seen some pretty egregious ones here specifically.
Yeah. Still fairly banked underneath the apron there, and people try to take advantage of that, and it hardly ever works. When is it all going to kick off?
Well, I mean, things have been a little bit crazier than they were in that first run. Not too terribly Oh, no, there's somebody around there in the back.
Oh, I think that's Nathan Reynolds, if I'm not mistaken. Reynolds has gone around.
It is.
We're nearing worst case scenario, depending on how bad this crash was. He was running around John Kay, Michael Dean, and Pascal Simard at the time of the incident. And that is the second caution of the night, and that changes quite a few things, both in the race and maybe in the championship standings.
And Reynolds was put back there because he spun into the pits and ended up having to go way to the back of the field. There on the green flag pit stops, it ended up having a caution come out. See him running in the back here. Oh, and he gets hit in the left rear by Michael Dean. He comes up very quickly on his teammate, John Kay, and has to back off. He makes contact with Kay and has to get way out of the throttle, and Michael Dean just doesn't get checked up in time. Very easy to do around a racetrack like this. Gets into that left rear and spins Reynolds around. Wow, drivers do a pretty good job of trying to get down underneath, but Patterson, the very last one, makes contact with the nose of the 38. That if anything's going to really hurt Reynolds there, that shot right there from Patterson is the one that's going to be it. We're going to go ahead and go car inside for the replay. See, he has to back way off the throttle, and then just gets a little tap from Dean. Back end starts going around and not able to make a save.
Pretty helpless feeling.
And curious to see who has come down
well
road here.
Interestingly enough, at the time of caution, Zach Lockett was the race leader. But Lockett and teammate Matt Schlosser will both come down pit road. So will Paul Ellison, Tyler Bergert. Of course, Paul Sargent got caught up in a little incident there, went a lap down. He comes into pit. Nathan Reynolds, of course, down pit road, as well as Ethan Patterson and Mark Dillon Jr. Ryan Borboom will get back to the lead lap with the lucky dog.
Very interesting to see Lockett and Schlosser, who were up in the top 10, come down pit road. I would have imagined it would have been more folks towards the back of the field that tried it to get tires and get an advantage with the handling. I mean, it's definitely an advantage, but if you have 15 trucks in front of you that are blocking the track, you can't go anywhere with the advantage.
Yeah, I mean, Lockett going to give up the lead. Schlosser was not too far behind. Would have been, I think, 5th or 6th on this restart. So, yeah, they'll have 15 trucks to pass with 20 laps to go when we come back to the green. So, interesting dynamic there. See if it's a bold strategy, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off for them.
I mean, if they can get a caution and they cycle up to the front of the field, it'll definitely be worth it. But that's a pretty good gamble right there.
Well, we've got some gamblers here. All right, it is Jan Van Leer and Eric Breeding on the front row. And odd bedfellows as each of their teammates are starting behind the other driver. It's Maxwell on the inside, Zittel on the outside, then Rutherford and Poliski teammates starting side by side to one another. Jan Van Leer from the outside. We're back at our way. Maxwell did not get a great restart, leaving a ton of room here on the bottom. Zittel going to jump underneath. Or on the bottom, and now underneath. Yes, Zittel going for the lead. Field is really stacked up here behind Cole Maxwell.
Yeah, that group going to get a big run on these top 4. We've seen the 4-truck breakaway a couple of times here tonight on starts and restarts.
So this is Jan at the front with help from Andy Poliski.
Tommy, you called that you don't want to let Poliski get into the top 5 here, yet here he is, second in line on the top with less than 20 to go.
Not always a guy that we think of when we come to the super speedways, but he's got the stats to back it up, and he is really tucked up underneath the JVL machine here. Oh, trouble! Caution is out. John Kay, I think, has gone around. And he's taken a couple with him, Pascal Samard included. And old DW smiling somewhere. Cautions breeding cautions.
Yeah, it looks like very significant damage to the left front for Kay. Will likely have to get some repairs done before being able to go out effectively. The end of the race pretty much here for Kay. Oh, and we were 3 wide here, farther in the back. See how this one develops. Samard ended up in the middle. Owen Lockett dives underneath of the red line in the quad oval down into turn 1. Oh, and then Samard stuck in the middle, drifts up the racetrack. Gainey does a great job seeing it coming, moves up, but John Kay gets hit in the left rear. And then both of them drift up the racetrack into Michael Dean. Looks like everybody else does a pretty good job avoiding any incident there. But yeah, I mean, we've talked about it all night, and it's finally come to fruition. 3 wide happens, and it goes south immediately.
Pascal Samard might be the first official retiree from this race. He's picked up a meatball flag from the crash. Paul Sargent is taking the lucky dog. He will be the 20th, or I guess make it the 19th driver on the lead lap here when Samard comes down to pit. Ethan Patterson will be still 1 lap down, and Mark Dillon Jr. is 3 down after having to come serve a black flag penalty on the first restart of the day. At the time of caution, the decent one, Kyle Zittel at the front of the field, Jan Van Leer in second. Poliski, Breeding, Vroman the top 5. Maxwell, Rutherford, Holyfield, Dye, and Lockett the top 10.
And here's the car inside camera for Kyle Zittel here at the front of the field. It's like he's talking strategy.
He's talking something.
Trying to figure out how he's going to play out the rest of this race.
They called Kyle the decent one. He's got 1 victory in his Venom Truck Series career. It came at Daytona, a perennial betting odds favorite to take the super speedway races. Rank him right up there with Jeremy McKinnon pretty much for all the super speedways. Jeremy, of course, not here tonight. But that victory came in the season opener of Season 4. It has been a hot minute since Kyle Zittel's been to victory lane with the Venom Truck Series. 2 podiums this season. Been a pretty good season, all things considered, for Zittel, but would love to get back to victory lane tonight. You talk about drivers who have knocked on the door of victories. Jan Van Leer, the most starts in Venom Truck Series history, still looking for that first checkered flag. He's up here with a chance again at Atlanta.
He's run a very good race up to this point, but you see Kyle Zittel elects to take the outside. That's undoubtedly where Jan Van Leer would rather be. Van Leer has done a masterful job up to this point, commanding the top side, but now gets pushed to the bottom on the restart. Kyle Zittel takes the top.
Zittel to the top. Not only the preferred line here for the restart, but that hooks him up with his teammate Eric Breeding as well. Superkick Revival Racing looking to dictate the finish of this one. Lap 97 on the board. Ryan Dye gets the best of Austin Holyfield. So the first side-by-side battle behind them is Lockett and Gainey for 11th. But now here goes JVL to the top side. Maxwell nearly up and into the wall, trying to get in front of Corey Rutherford. Tops line slowly but surely.
Oh! Looks like Lockett's hard into the wall. He's able to keep it straight, unbelievably. Oh, there's more wrecking.
Oh, that's the big one. 2, 3, 4 trucks involved. Caution is back out. Bergert, Rutherford. That jumbling all happened around Cole Maxwell as he slid right up in front of Corey Rutherford, and all the chaos ensued behind them. Rutherford going to pound the inside wall once again. Looks like he is out of the race. And I don't know if that is going to be the big one. Only really 2 or 3 trucks with big damage out of that.
Yeah, that restart, second half of the restart anyways, the last half of that lap was getting pretty chaotic there for sure.
I'd say.
Oh, already the big incident there behind. Let's go ahead and back this up. You mentioned Maxwell getting up into the wall, kind of stalling everybody out. We're going to go all the way back to that here into turn 3. Certainly tires playing a big factor in this around Atlanta. Maxwell up into the wall. Everybody behind him kind of starts coming to him. Ellison goes 3 wide here underneath of Rutherford, and then in between Gainey and Maxwell. But the incident is actually behind them. As it looked like that was Nathan Reynolds trying to follow Ellison there into the middle, and Corey Rutherford comes down the racetrack expecting to be able to get in front of Reynolds. Reynolds gets pushed down to the apron but stays out of this massive accident. Rutherford and Bergert absolutely pound the outside wall. Lockett involved as well.
Yeah, Bergert and Rutherford are done.
I mean, neither of them had a front half of the truck left after just absolutely barreling into the wall there. Massive shots.
So we're inside of 10 laps to go. A lot of drivers down on the apron here. Now, why would that be?
Well, presumably saving fuel, but by our calculations, they were should have been more than fine, especially with a couple cautions here in the second half of this race after the pit stops.
So that leaves 2 options, either boredom or trying to make sure that they are good for a possible 3 attempts at overtime. Really don't want to have to come down pit road under caution during overtime unless you really have to. Really, unless you pick up damage.
Yeah, at this point, they're definitely good for at least 1. I would assume good for 2 for sure. But you're right. That if they have to go to a third one, that one, they might be stretching it a bit.
And Sarge says, mind games. Maybe. That could very well be the case. He's got me fooled. That's for darn sure.
Well, he's elected this top side again. It's worked out for most. But now it'll be Eric Breeding starting on the bottom with Jan Van Leer pushing.
And how hard does Jan push here to try and make sure that the drop down can't happen?
He can push all he wants, but Zittle's going to be able to have the right to when he restarts, and will get the jump out, and will undoubtedly be able to get down to the bottom if he so wishes.
Ethan Patterson takes the lucky dog, so we have 18 trucks here on the lead lap inside of 10 laps to go here at Atlanta. Cut the Cord 110 presented by CaliTV is just spicing up here.
And Zittle way out in front.
Poliski and Ryan Dye, teammates, hooked up on the top. And Steve Roman behind him.
Yeah, 3 teammates all together here on the top side. Poliski looking for the lead. Zittle has no help right now on the bottom.
Big move there from Eric Breeding. He got mega loose through 3 and 4. That has broke this bottom up. And Broke Guy looking to take advantage. Steve gets hung out, but the top 2 make it down.
Might not be the worst thing for Vroman to get stuck on the outside, because Broke Guy Racing will be able to control both lanes, the bottom and the top, forcing 3 wide that will likely not end well.
2 spiritual teammates in my mind cannon working together here on the top, Vroman and Ellison. And Maxwell pulling in behind them. Oh, Dye nearly up into the door of his teammate. Here is Steve Roman getting a big push from Paul Ellison on the top.
And Kyle Zittle's going to be a little impatient.
Oh, we've got trouble. Problems further back. Not sure who that was.
I didn't
I
see
heard
anybody. May have been Michael Dean. It looks like there's pretty significant damage to the right front of the 73.
I was going to say I heard spinning, but I didn't see anybody going that slow other than Michael Dean.
So I don't know if he just did a quick 360 and got it running again, or...
Ooh, yeah, he had some help from Paul Sargent, it looked like. Had to check up super hard, and Sargent didn't quite check up behind him.
Oh, that's kind of a similar situation we actually saw with Dean getting into the left rear of Reynolds here a few cautions ago. And funnily enough, Reynolds in front of Dean going into turn 3 as well has to check up big time. And this time it's Michael Dean that gets the worst of a slowdown here on the bottom.
I'm not sure where John Kay is in all this, but he somehow picked up a meatball flag while this was happening.
It is interesting. I know John had very significant damage earlier on, so maybe, it could be something where not much of contact with something could produce a meatball for him at this point.
And the report from Ramna reporter Wilma from the Infield Care Center says that Tyler Burgert is okay. Gave a thumbs up while being loaded into the ambulance.
It's always good to get the thumbs up. If he walked away under his own power, that's maybe a different story. Could have been given the thumbs up on the stretcher. We'll have to find out. Oh, so Zach Lockett was short on fuel. That's
Interesting.
why came to pit for the lead, but says that looking back on it, he blew it. We've had a lot of cautions, so definitely would have been able to save quite a bit. So probably kicking himself for thinking that. But at the time, we had a very long first green flag run, so I can see where if he thought he was short, that he was thinking I need to come in and pit because we might just run this thing out.
Using our luck, if we try and stick it out, the caution never comes out. But as soon as we do try and pit, thinking that it's going to go green to the end, that's when all the cautions happened. And that's seemingly what happened to Lockett there. Because as soon as he went from the lead to pit into the middle of the hornet's nest, that is when the cautions all started happening around him. So that's rather unfortunate. Well, the dynamics continually changing here at the front of the field. It's now Steve Roman, who was looking pretty good to pull away from the rest of his teammates there, now has to work with him again after they left him out. Vroman and Poliski and Ryan Dye going to help Vroman here on the top side. Poliski will have help from Paul Ellison, who is going to be hooked up with his teammates here on the bottom.
Look who's looming back here, a little bit farther back there on the bottom. Atlanta winner from the last time, Brantley Gainey, starting in the top 10 as well.
3 laps to go. Anybody's for the taking. Cole Maxwell up here as well. A lot of hungry contenders looking for their first win on the season, or maybe their first win of their career. Poliski, the only one of the bunch that's gone to victory lane this season, and right now he's got the nose out ahead.
Earlier in the season, we saw Ryan Dye on a super speedway leave teammates out to try to help other teams and drivers from other teams and try and make a move for himself. Will he do the same here today, or will he stick with Steve Roman?
Big 3-wide move up the middle behind them. Jan Van Leer going to find shooting the gap between Maxwell and Holyfield to tuck in behind Zittel, and now going to jump to the top side. Coming to the white flag. We're going to make it back to the line. Yes, we are. 1.5 miles to go. Poliski in control.
Wow. Schlosser and Gainey 3 wide on the top, a little bit farther back. No 3 wide up towards the front right now.
Ryan Dye trying to push with everything he's got here on the outside to get Vroman the advantage. Broke Guy has control out of turn number 4. Vroman side drafting hard. Poliski. They're going to wreck behind Steve Vroman across the line. Vroman wins the cut the cord as the entire field going to wad it up behind him.
Wow.
Steve Vroman, first victory of the season, 3rd career Venom Truck Series victory. And it all kicked off there with Poliski getting help from behind from Paul Ellison. Ryan Dye and Kyle Zittel. A pretty popular podium, I'd say, here.
Wow, and Steve Roman gets it done on a super speedway again. Roman is really racking up some super speedway wins on the channel here in the last 12 months or so.
Winner of the inaugural 200 and Truck 200 competition at Talladega. Wins this one tonight here in Atlanta. Got to win at the new configuration of Texas in between those two as well. So 3rd career channel victory for Vroman and 3rd career Venom Truck Series victory as well. Big credit for the Vroman win to the driver that's doing burnouts with him, Ryan Dye. He was pushing like hell.
Pushing like hell, and their other teammate, Andy Poliski, got pushed right down into the grass.
Andy Ducato says, have you ever? And no, I have never is the right answer to that. That was a wild one. Let's take a look at it before we get to the full finishing rundown.
Here we are coming off of turn 4, and you mentioned Dye pushing Vroman. Dye actually got Roman pretty damn loose here, coming through that final turn. A huge wiggle from the 0-0, but Ellison gives a push to that left rear corner, just a little bit too much off center, and sends Poliski packing. And it was all Steve Roman from there, but contact between Zittel and Dye as well. Zittel ends up getting into Paul Ellison, too. The three of them sideways across the line are going to take the podium. And then just calamity here in the back. Nearly the entire top 10 had contact at some point with the truck. And Steve Roman was right out front to make it happen.
Well, some notable runs for different reasons here tonight. Some hopes dashed there late. I mean, the Cut the Cord 110 presented by CaliTV was a big hit here tonight. A couple of big hits quite literally there to close that one out as well. Yeah.
Well, let's get to that full field rundown, and then we're going to hear from the podium.
Absolutely. Steve Roman, first win of the season, third of his Venom Truck Series career. Ryan Dye with the best season in P2. Kyle Zittel, second consecutive podium, third of the season. We'll talk to these three gentlemen momentarily. Jan Van Leer, I believe, a season best fourth, if I'm not mistaken, at least in points-paying competition. Then it is a P5 for Paul Ellison. Another top 5 for him here in Season 7. Career best, 6th place finish for Austin Holyfield. Way to be there at the end. He'll take home a top 10. Eric Breeding in 7th. Cole Maxwell will finish in P8. Matt Schlosser in 9th. And how about Nathan Reynolds? After everything that he went through tonight, he's going to sneak into the top 10. Pole sitter Brantley Gainey back to 11th. Ryan Boardman was a lap down at one point. He'll finish in 12th. Paul Sargent was through the ringer tonight as well. He was also a couple laps down. He finishes in 13th. Zach Lockett in 14th. Michael Dean in 15th. Andy Poliski first out of turn 4. 17th, or rather 16th in the finishing order. That is going to be a disappointment for sure. John Kay in 17th. Ethan Patterson in 18th. And then DNFs for Corey Ritherford, Tyler Berger, Mark Dillon Jr., and Pascal Simard. You know, it's always a great day when we can talk to Kyle Zittel, but we've been talking to Kyle Zittel more and more. This is the third podium of the season, second in a row. Welcome back, partner. It's not been that long.
No, it hasn't. It feels pretty good to be back again so soon.
Well, until Broke Guy ganged up on you there at the end, it looked like you and Eric had it, really. Had it locked down for the last couple of restarts. Where did things sort of change on you?
The last restart, or the one before it, I dropped down in front of Eric and I said, you know, when you get to me on the backstretch, shove, go. And he hit me really hard, got him loose, and I stayed straight, but it got him to get loose and open up a gap, and yeah, we weren't on point at this. For the record, I don't like this track. I don't like it. And this ain't plate racing. This ain't super speedway racing. You boys know I'm first in line for Daytona and Talladega. This ain't it.
Well, it seemed like you were first in line for most of the night anyway, but I understand. This is definitely a different kind of animal here. Matt, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, congrats on the podium. I mean, controlling the last half of this race. A very stark contrast from the first half to the last half. We had a bunch of green flag laps and then just absolute chaos, a bunch of cautions there at the end. I mean, talk to me about trying to, I mean, it has to be a little bit mentally taxing to have to flip that switch in your head, going from just kind of getting into a rhythm and then not being able to get into any sort of rhythm there in the last 30 laps.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to run it like Daytona and Talladega. Just ride until we got to the pit stop. We knew we could pit just halfway, and we knew that, you know, we could just ride. We could go after that if we had to.
But yeah, to just be in the back, kind of just rolling around, and then have to, like you said, flip that switch and go. Yeah, it was weird. It was just weird.
It's becoming less weird to talk to you on the podium at the end of these races, so keep that up, partner. But in the meantime, anybody you want to shout out or say hi to?
Nathan for the truck, for all of our trucks. Corey did Paul's. That was supposed to be Luke's, but he's at the House of Mouse. So we replaced it with Paul. He took over the Mark Martin ride. Eric was playing the part of Bill Elliott, and John was playing the part of Davey after Garrett got put on the IR. I love this truck. It's something about that. The 92 trucks or 92 paints. At Atlanta, it's what this track is going to be known for forever. So thank you to him. Thank you to my lovely wife. She turned it on. I said, hey, I'm winning. He's like, what? Why? I said, I don't know, but turn it on. So I thank my parents, everybody watching, you guys, of course, everybody who comes out week in and week out. And yeah, it's must be the last 5 races of the season because I've pulled my head on my ass and here I am. I keep finishing well.
The decent one, Kyle Zittel, continuing to rise above decency into third podium finish of the season. Let's finish with 4 in a row to close out this season. Best of luck to you next week, and go celebrate the podium here tonight.
Yes, sir. Thank you, boys. Have a good night.
And now we'll talk to. I know something that's going to happen in this interview, and I'm very excited to hear your reaction to it. But that's the tease. We'll talk to your runner-up finisher here, Ryan Dye. I would say probably if we did a driver of the day vote, you would probably get that the high marks there. Congrats on the runner-up finish here tonight.
Hey man, that's like a win for me. Pushing my teammate across the line. I'm pumped. That was fun.
I mean, not only did you push Steve, you pushed him like hell. I mean, great, aggressive pushes. You also pushed Andy to the lead before that, a couple of green flag runs ago. So, I mean, you were just a pushing madman tonight.
I tried. I didn't really want to lead, even when I did get out to the lead. I didn't want to burn the fuel. And then I think Board Boom had a moment where he just got super tight up against the wall, and I was okay, I'm gonna go, and I went down in between him and I don't know who it was below me, but to get on that front line on the outside, and I got the lead in front of Nathan, and I realized very quickly we were going to pit on lap 60, and within a couple laps I realized I wasn't going to make it to 57, so that kind of informed my decisions in the second half of the race. I didn't want to lead. I just wanted to push until the end, and then coming off of 4, if you have a shot, you take it. But I was pretty committed at the end of this race. I told Andy and Steve on the last restart, there's 3 of us up here, and if one of us doesn't win, we failed. So I'm happy.
Matt, what do you got for Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great run. Fun to see you up there, trying to do your thing, pushing teammates, maybe trying to get a win for yourself. I was saying, last season you got that late season win at a super speedway with Talladega. I thought maybe you had another one in you here tonight.
Maybe. It crossed my mind. I really wish that last caution hadn't have came out. I went from 9th to 5th, or 9th to 4th, in one lap, and I had one hell of a run when that yellow came out. I was playing at that point to take it 3 wide and see what happened, but that didn't happen. So perhaps I didn't crash the whole field, which is a good thing, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I'm good at Martinsville. I finished 2nd there before, so I am excited about that, and obviously this series has never been to Kansas, so we don't really know what's going to happen there. But there's still a couple races left to try to get a win this season, and if not, then we'll move on to next season with all the big changes I have in store and see what happens.
Oh,
I have one more question, Tommy.
Uh-oh. Yeah, go ahead.
Are birds real, Ryan?
No. No. Have you ever felt a bird?
I'm sure at one point in my life I had, but I can't remember it. So your point stands, I suppose.
See, it was so unremarkable, and the government has now has brainwashed you into thinking that they're real, but they're not.
Oh God! Put that in the quote wall of fame. Have you ever felt a bird? From second place finisher Ryan Dye. Goodness gracious! This is what super speedway racing does to your brain, kids. Stay in school. Ryan Dye, who do you want to thank here tonight?
Let's see. I want to thank my teammates, Andy and Steve. We had a good plan all night, worked together really well. Thanks to you guys for broadcasting this wonderful league and doing such a great job. Thank you to the league itself. It's always fun running with these guys every week. Thank you to my family and all that good stuff. Thank you to Preach Peterson for sucking on y'all's thing yesterday, so that any of us in the future won't feel bad if we suck as bad as he did. So he set the bar so low, like I feel like an ant could jump over it. So thanks to him for setting that bar for us. Thank you to Pepsi for being a fine soda.
Amen.
The nectar of the sodas, I do believe. Thank you to Storm Bowling Products for making the best bowling balls on the planet, and I will die on that hill. What else? Just looking around for things to thank at this point. Thank you to Zevo for keeping the gnats out of my face in this room that gets gnats for some reason. Thank you to Guitar Hero. I don't know why, but we're going to thank Guitar Hero. I think that might be it. I had a good race tonight, and I've heard that it might be a little bit better than Matt's race Sunday night, so that's a plus.
Wow.
And Ryan Dye, thank you as always for the time. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thank y'all.
I quit.
And now we'll have to put our game faces back on. We'll talk about that later. But it's time to talk to Steve Roman as a winner once again in the Venom Truck Series. Welcome back to Victory Lane. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Glad to be here talking to you.
We should have left the John K. stopwatch running there for Ryan Dye. That's the longest non-John K. interview that we've ever had. But speaking of Ryan Dye, man, he gave you crazy shots there in the last couple of laps to get you up to the front. It seemed like Broke Guy had a really good plan there in the last 10 or 15 laps when we got some green flag laps in.
Yeah, once we all got together there and kind of hung around out front, we kind of had to plan to stay together and get each other up there in the top 3 or 4 and then duke it out from there. And like you said, definitely Ryan, those last 2 laps was pushing me hard and gave me that shove that I needed there to get through the finish.
Well, you and Ryan got hooked back up after they had both left you out there on the top side to fend for yourself. Luckily, you had a good dance partner in Paul Ellison behind you as well. But fend for yourself. It almost had to happen anyway.
Yeah, I was kind of glad to see Paul in the rearview mirror there. I know he'd give me the shove, but I was also kind of glad that it didn't come down to the end because I knew for sure I was going to be out by myself. But it all worked out in the end, and glad we wound up there.
Matt, what do you got for the race winner?
Yeah, congrats on a race win. Did a heck of a job there in the second half. You had to come up quite a few positions. I think you started 11th. That first big long run and then coming to the pit stop, how did the beginning and the middle of that race go for you? Because things got really jacked up there around the pit stops.
Yeah, they did. I was kind of in the first part of the race just kind of trying to take it easy, save fuel, and make sure that if it came down to it, that we could do it on one stop there. So I was just kind of trying to hang back and see, and then hoping once pit stops started there that we'd all get a little strung out and we'd wind up hooked up back together again as the team there. But when the pit stop started, the first round was a little hairy, and then that second round there when we came by, that was the one that did it for us.
Well, second podium of the season, first win of the season, third of your Venom Truck Series career. It's always great to get you back up here in the booth, but it's even better to get you back up here as a race winner. Heck of a job here tonight, partner. Anybody want to shout out or say hi to?
Yeah, definitely the guys at CaliTV for sponsoring the race there, and the teammates there at Broke Guy, especially Ryan for that shove there at the end to get me to the win. And, of course, our sponsors at None of Your Beeswax Apiary. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Always good talking to you, and even better, like you said, talking to you as the winner.
Absolutely. Have a spoonful of honey for me, and go celebrate, go party hard. We'll hopefully talk to you again here in the next couple of weeks.
Sounds good. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That is your race winner, Steve Roman. My, oh my. That was, the tale of two races here. The first 55 laps were calm, cool, and collected. Really interesting game of chess. And then the mosh pit opened, and the back half of the race happened, and was exciting for a whole different set of reasons.
Yeah, definitely the duality of a race, for sure. I mean, two very completely opposite ends of the spectrum. But, I mean, great stuff out front, for sure. Saw a lot of leapfrogging there at one point in the race, and then some folks trying to, take control of the top line to not allow leapfrogging to happen there when Jan Van Leer got to the front. A lot of really great strategy here around Atlanta. Drivers did a hell of a job.
And a great crowd hanging out with us here tonight as well.
Certainly, we had the Sarge in the chat, Stickers McQueen, Andy, Hunter Leach, Goodleaf Archives, Zach Lockett was in here, Tyler Burkert gave us the thumbs up after he maybe had to get lifelined out of this thing. And then Fleeky Roberts, John K in the chat earlier as well. Steve, of course, with CaliTV, hopped in the chat after he spoke with us pre-race. So thanks to Steve for hopping in the chat and talking to us before the race as well. And anybody else that was out there watching tonight, very much appreciate the support. And we got more coming up for you, specifically a great race coming on Thursday.
Absolutely. No Daredevil series tomorrow night because some people apparently have something to do tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know anything about it, to be honest with you. But Thursday night, the Maximum Velocity CNC Home Designs Truck Series 2024 season kicks off in a big way at the World Center of Racing, Daytona, for some Truck Series racing action Thursday night. Then we'll be back in action ahead of the 500 on Sunday afternoon from Lime Rock Park. For the Mission Art Challenge Top Split Strength Field broadcast. No more action on Monday nights. Matt and I are going racing off air as the Formula Super Series has concluded its inaugural season. So no more Monday night racing action until probably late August, if I had to guess. Tuesday night for the Venom Truck Series, we are back at what promises to be maybe twice or three times as wild as this race tonight at Martinsville. Everybody hold on to your hats there. That is going to be one interesting night of racing, if there ever was one here on CERN 200. But that is all we got for you here tonight. Be sure to hit subscribe on your way out of the stream here tonight if you're not subscribed already, and hit like on the stream as well. Every little bit helps us in our climb to get to 1,000 subscribers. And also, while you're fiddling around down there, be sure to be on the lookout for some of our great Daytona 500 content that we got coming out. I believe tomorrow sometime we are dropping a video. We've got one video out right now called Turn 200's NASCAR Knockout. It's the first edition in a long-running series that we'll have monthly. And so edition number 1 is out right now. So be sure to check that out. Thank you to Steve and everybody at CaliTV for sponsoring tonight's race. Congratulations to Steve Roman on winning a 4K Amazon Fire Stick and also a trial subscription to CaliTV for anybody that's interested in cutting the cord and upgrading your quality of life. Be sure to get hold of Steve or find the website in the description, CaliTVRepairs.com, or find CaliTV and Steve on Facebook and get a hold of them that way. You will not regret it. So thank you to CaliTV for sponsoring tonight's event. Thank you to everybody with the Venom Truck Series. Thank you to the GOAT, the one and only Mr. Matt Williamson. Until we meet again from Atlanta Motor Speedway, I'm Tommy Cook. We are saying so long and congratulations to Steve Roman, who has cut the cord en route to career victory number 3 with the Venom Truck Series. This has been a live broadcast on Turn 200. Be sure to hit subscribe and hit the bell to get notified of when we go live next. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you again soon.